Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliet Clark. And before we get started today, I want to remind you to go over to YouTube and subscribe to Super Brand Publishing. You can see all the videos of this over there. Also, you're listening. Please write us a review. We'd love to hear from you, but only if you have something nice to say. If you don't have nice things, go away. Your mother didn't teach you right. Anyway, and don't forget to go over and take our Promote, Profit, Publish quiz and find out where you are in relationship to building a platform. It's at www.promoteprofitpublishquiz.com. So today's guest is Kimberly Hobscheid, and I hope I said that right because she has this really complicated name. And she is a joint venture super connector. She gets entrepreneurs to the stages and the connections they need to stop being overlooked and grow explosively with their revenue and reach. Kimberly's an award-winning international inspirational public speaker, a best-selling author, an audiobook producer, and a 6-time entrepreneur. She's been around the block a few times. Kimberly's the creator of Entrepreneur's Rocket Fuel, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. It's an active community of entrepreneurs looking to contribute, connect, and grow with other entrepreneurs. Kimberly, welcome.
Oh, Juliet, I'm super excited to be here. What a fun group you lead.
Oh, well, thank you. They are a fun group. So tell us about Entrepreneur Rocket Fuel. It sounds like a takeoff group.
Absolutely. So it actually just started about a year ago, and we have been growing. It's a community by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs to help entrepreneurs get to the next level. I actually did, before I was a full-time entrepreneur, I was in corporate for 17 years. I always say I was in 17 years, but 15 of them were good and 2 of them sucked, right? I can say that on your show. And I had grown into golden handcuffs, if you will, right? That I had climbed the corporate ladder and I was making good money and I was like hating to go to work every day. And it was really, really a tough time. And that's when I decided to become a full-time entrepreneur. But the weird thing about being an entrepreneur is after you leave corporate, you have that entire microcosm around you of all the people on your team, right? You have legal and HR and employees and bosses and everything. You have people that are on your same team. When you go solopreneur, you don't have any of that, right? And you don't have people that you can bounce ideas off of. So what I really wanted to do is create community for entrepreneurs, because we can't do it all alone, even though we try. We only have one brain amongst ourselves, right? We've got to be able to bounce ideas off of other people. And that's what this community is all about.
That's fantastic. Oh, bless you. I always joke about, when people quit their job, like day one, they're showered, they're dressed, they're so excited to be an entrepreneur. And by month 4, they're unshowered, they're unshaved, like the dog is in the corner going, dude, like shower, do something. They really don't. They don't realize, how incredibly hard it is when you have to do everything.
Yeah.
So you're a master connector, which that's one of the things I love about you. Like conversation 1, you were already connecting me with people, and I'm a master connector as well. So tell people, like, how do you feel about that connector? When you connect, do you do it to be of service, or what is it for you?
Yeah, I think I am very, very fortunate that I am an extrovert by nature, right? I have no problem introducing myself to people and getting really aware of who they are and what they do. And I know when I go to a networking event, I will come away with people that, many, many people that I know, where an introvert might go with 1 or 2 really deep relationships and be able to follow up with those. I actually get quite a few, and not just surface level, but we connect on sort of a deeper level, and I find out who they are and how they show up in the world, what they have to offer, what they're creating, and what their motivations are. And so over time, I've created a very large network of people that are entrepreneurs or infopreneurs, we also call them. And so I or people that help those people. And so when I meet somebody and they'll say, oh, I'm really looking to figure out how to do this Facebook thing. I know somebody that can help them with Facebook ads, and I'll just do an introduction. You've got to meet so-and-so. And then somebody else will say, I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm looking for somebody in the, that serves real estate people. And I'll say, oh my gosh, you have to meet so-and-so, right? And then just connect them, because I oftentimes am that bridge. When I was in corporate, I worked a lot with introverts, and having somebody be able to connect you with somebody else for pretty much everybody, but especially for introverts, it's very helpful to have that warm introduction. Like, Juliet, you've got to meet Kimberly. She's really awesome. This is the way she shows up in the world. Kimberly, you've got to meet Juliet. She's really awesome. This is the way she shows up in the world. And I'll let you two take it from here. And then off they go, creating magic in the world. And that inspires me. That's what it's all about for me.
That is so cool. Now, here, I want your opinion on this. So a lot of times I will connect with people, and, I'll send people to them, or they'll send people to me, and they come back and they say, well, you didn't send somebody back. And does that make sense? And I always think when I connect people, like, I don't have a reason behind it other than I want to connect good people. And it's not like that tit for tat. I always believe karma is going to bring me somebody good. How do you feel about that? Do you ever run into that?
Oh, I totally agree that it's karma, right? And you know what? It does come back, but not always from those people. Sometimes it's in a totally different way, and you have to be open to. Well, I'm very law of attraction, so I'm very open to receive and allow. And there have been times where I've connected to people, and they're like, "That was an amazing connection, thanks." And they're beginning entrepreneurs. They don't have. It's not like they're going to introduce me to somebody with, that's exactly my niche or whatever. But then, 3 days later, I get a call from somebody, and they're like, I heard from somebody that somebody said you were amazing and you have this, and I have something for you. And can you help me with this? Yeah. And what goes around comes around. And if you go out into the world with the idea that I'm here to serve, that I'm here to create, and it's fun for me, then I know that something else will come back, and that's okay with me. The one thing that I want to caution people against is if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. Right. So if you're connecting people and it's fun for you to do, awesome, do that. That's great. But if it's like pulling teeth to get you to connect, send an email and connect to people, show up in a different way, do something else. If your thing is like, no, I'd rather send them strawberries and chocolate from Amazon, by all means, go ahead and do that instead.
I absolutely love that, because that is something I run into a lot. And I do, like you, I love connecting people. But, I just would caution everybody out there, if you're a good connector, do it without expectations, because you'll be amazed at what comes in another door that just blows you away with it. So tell us more about Entrepreneur Rocket Fuel. Like, what are the things you guys do? How do you connect?
Well, my big thing is since I'm an extrovert, I really believe in getting people seen and heard. Oftentimes when I will walk into a room, people will be like, oh, Kimberly's here, because I'm kind of a big personality and I get seen and heard a lot. But oftentimes other entrepreneurs don't, and they have something that's really, really, really valuable. Like, they could be the best relationship coach in the world, or they could be the best life coach, or they could be the best financial coach. But they're quiet, right? And so when I see somebody and they're the best kept secret, I want to get the word out about who they are and what they do. And I want to give them an opportunity to share that, not just me. I mean, I could help them get the word out, but more importantly, I want them to be seen and heard. Because frankly, if you're not being seen, you're being overlooked. If you're not being heard, your message is not getting out there. And if you're not clear on your message, it is not going to have the resonant impact that you want to make in this world. You are here for a reason, right? We're all here for a reason. Maybe mine is to connect people, right? But I really like the idea of giving people the spotlight, the stage, the opportunity to be seen and heard. So that's what Rocket Fuel is all about, getting you seen and heard, connected with the right people, connected with the right opportunities. If you're stuck, we want to get you unstuck and make it so that you have the impact that you're supposed to make while you're here on this earth.
That is such a great message. So you work with getting people on stages, and we have an event coming up. Unfortunately, this is going to publish after that. But what are the kinds of things where you get, like, can you tell us about the stages, the events you have, things like that?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because a lot of times I will say stages, and for me, it probably means something different than other people. I know most people think of, when they think of stages, getting on live stages or maybe behind a podium at an event or something like that. And for me, stages can be anywhere where you can address two or more people. And that could be a live event where you're in person with other human beings, but it can also be a webcast, a podcast like we're on right now. It can be a webinar. It can be a radio show. It can be a virtual stage of sorts. There are a lot of different ways to get you seen and heard out there in the world. And a stage can be in a variety of formats. So I have tons of podcasters who are looking for guests. I have tons of people who are putting on web summits, which is a new sort of show where people will get, there will be a multitude of speakers coming, sort of like if you went to a conference and you saw a series of speakers. And that happens, but now it's happening virtually. And that is a really great way to make an impact on a larger scale. There are people who would attend an event that couldn't attend an event because they had another event. Maybe they can't move anywhere right now because of COVID, or maybe it's a different, maybe they just weren't able to show up because they had a conflict. But if it's virtual, they can show up for some of the days, they can see some of the speakers, it can be recorded and they can watch it later. You'll be able to get in front of tons more people if you get onto virtual events. And that can be one advantage. If you go to live events, that can be a different advantage, because you can actually give them a hug in the real world, right? You can shake their hand, you can meet them in person. They can be like, hey, I love your outfit, or, whatever. So meeting in person can be phenomenal as well. Wherever you can get, where you can get your message out and be seen and heard and really connect with other human beings, that's where you want to be. And that, for me, that's a variety of stages.
That is amazing. And we've seen such a shift in the last couple of months back to webinars and those web summits and things that kind of went away for a while, that I think people got a little bit exhausted by them. So it's exciting that they're back. And I miss the live. Do you miss the live?
I do, because as an extrovert, really, I like connecting with people. I really, really do. But I'll tell you one thing. I am putting on web summits and connecting with people. Yesterday, my calendar had 17 half-hour phone calls on it, where it was actually a Zoom call. So I could see people. I'm like, I just need to see people. So for me, that's a good secondary way to do it.
That is so funny. I'm a little bit of an introvert, and I have a class, actually a coaching program that I'm a part of on Wednesday nights, and I haven't shown up in about a month because I'm on Zoom all day, and by then I'm just like Zoom exhausted. So
totally.
Good for you that you just want to see people. I want to get away from people at the end of the day.
Well, you brought up something really good, a really, really good point. You actually talked about a group Zoom call. And I am a huge fan of group activities whenever you can get on them, whether they're virtually or not. Even if you're not hosting or you haven't been invited as a speaker, if you go to a virtual networking event or a live networking event, being able to get there and make an impact on other people, that's the same thing. Public speaking is when you're interacting with two or more people. Mm-hmm. So if you are able to get in front of a group and just be a part of that group, I strongly encourage it. Now, here's a pro tip if you want it. A pro tip is to go to somebody else's event and absorb value, right? So let's say somebody's putting on a 3-day event and you're going and you're getting real value out of it. Maybe they're teaching about sales, or maybe they're teaching about social media, and you go and you're getting value. And then they say, does anybody have any questions? Come up to the mic. Every single time you need to go to the mic at least once on those events. Every single time. If they say, we're looking for, does anybody have questions? Now, you don't want to get on the mic and start selling or pitching or anything like that, but get on the mic and ask a legitimate question. But when you introduce yourself, you can say, I'm Kimberly, I'm with Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, which is a community of entrepreneurs online, and I have a question. And once you do that, people, and if you have a real question that adds value to the group in some way, people will remember you, and you will make the impact, at least the first ripple of impact. And then when you're connecting with people, at the lunch or at the break or at other times, they'll be like, oh, you were that girl on the microphone, right? And all I'm saying is just get out there. If somebody offers you a mic, take them up on it. Now, don't be a mic hog there. Then you get irritating and people are like, oh my God, she's that girl, right? But make sure that you don't do that. But make sure that you get seen and heard at every event you go to.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Great pro tip. We just had the Peace and Pivot Summit, and here you guys can get so many ideas. At the Pivot Summit, we had a virtual wine tasting and a magician. So, there's another aspect of it. If you're really bored with your calls, have some entertainment on it. I know I have several friends who are out of work comedians who are all of a sudden virtual comedians on for different things. So, just go to get creative as well as speak, because you're going to get a lot of great ideas of how to spice these things up right now as well.
Absolutely. You actually hit on a really interesting point. I have a friend and she and I put together a quarantine cocktail hour, which is really fun. But we bring in an actual bartender who's furloughed and out of work right now. Uh-huh. We bring him in and he teaches us how to make a drink at every one, right? Like a new mixed drink. And he does two things. He does a cocktail and a mocktail. So if you don't drink alcohol, he'll teach you how to make a fun drink. We did Shirley Temple's. We did like a COVID sunrise, which had no alcohol in it, a couple of different ones. And it was, it's super fun, but we put out a virtual tip jar for him so he could get some money coming in during this time where he's furloughed. Same thing with magicians, same thing with musicians, same thing with anybody who does in-person activities that can't really do it right now. It's a great opportunity to get them a stage.
Mm-hmm. No, it really is. And actually the virtual wine tasting we had, that's what the vineyard does now in this furlough. They can't have people in, so they're booking like you and your friends, and they send out the wine, and it's really great. But it was funny to watch him actually teach us about wine tasting, because I don't do that, so I can't be a wine snob. So tell us what else you have going on, because I know we were going to touch on this lightly. You also own an audiobook company with your son. Yes. That this was something that he wanted to be an entrepreneur, and this was his pick, and now he's grown bored and it's yours, sort of.
Yeah, so the story on that is lovely. So he actually saved me in entrepreneurship, and as I mentioned at the very beginning, I was in corporate for 17 years. 15 of them were good, right? And then 2 of them I was miserable. When I left, I had actually had some businesses on the side previously, and I'd grown them to the point where I'd sold them. But they were small businesses, and when you sell a business, that really gives you a lot of oomph. Like, it's really exciting to be able to sell a business. When I went entrepreneurship full time, I went to my friends and family and said, I have these little things, but I really am looking for something that can sustain me as a full-time 7-figure earner, right? So that's what I'm looking for. And they said, wow, you were so good when you were doing your thing at corporate. Why don't you do that? And I thought, because you're so good at it, right? And I'd grown, a very large organization with 30 offices and employees and everything. And so I thought, what a great idea. I'll do that. And so I did. And 1 year later, I had a 7-figure business. And I looked back and thought, dang, I just created my own jail cell. I was doing exactly the same thing that I had tried a year ago to escape from. And now I was stuck, and it was horrible. And I positioned it for sale because I knew it was a big mistake. And I could not get the price I was looking for, not even close to the price I was looking for. So I thought, all right, this is not good. I need to put it on the shelf. I'll put an employee in charge of it, and I'll just let it gradually atrophy, right? But meanwhile, I'll have it pour the money it would have poured into somebody else's account into my account. I ended up making a lot more money that way. But while it was on the shelf, I was trying to think of something else to do. My son came to me and he's like, hey, I'm 15 and a half. I can't get a summer job. I don't want to go back to summer camp because that's lame. That's for kids, right? So what do I do? And I said, well, let's create you're never too young or too old to be an entrepreneur. So let's create a business around what you love doing, something that you love. It could be anything. So he was, he's in improv. He loved children. He would read books to them in groups. groups at the library. He would do all kinds, these were all kinds of different aspects. We did what any good millennial parent would do. I put them all into Google, and up came, why don't you be an audiobook narrator? And so he did. He became, we bought him a microphone and stuff. And then I taught him everything about business, how to attract new clients, how to manage order flow, how to advertise, how to, bring in new business. And suddenly we had more business than he could handle. And we had to hire narrators to be able to finish the books. And so it grew and grew and grew, and he loved it, and I loved it. And I thought, this is the magic formula. You have to do something you love, not necessarily something you're good at. And that was the big life lesson for me. And that is what spurred on Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, because I really love helping entrepreneurs. It's just a joy for me. And that's what I love. Whether I'm great at it or not, that's what I need to be doing. And so that's how Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel came to be.
That is such a cool story. So where can we find you if we want to find out more about the audiobooks, if we want to find out more about Entrepreneur Rocket Fuel, which I know is your main business now, but where do we go?
So audiobooks is, the website is imhearingstories.com. That's I'm Hearing Stories. It's I am Hearing Stories, not with an A, not with an apostrophe, but I'm Hearing Stories, which is a crappy name. If you're ever naming a business, don't ever put an apostrophe in it. But we thought it was funny when we created it. People are like, is it I'm Hearing Voices? No, it's I'm Hearing Stories. So that's that one. And then please join the community if you're an entrepreneur. You can find it at entrepreneursrocketfuel.com/Facebook. That's www.entrepreneursrocketfuel.com/Facebook, and join the community. It's free to join. And there's a lot of people helping other people in there. You can advertise your business. You can get the word out about who you are and what you do. There's tons of information on there about how to run a business, but also how to find stages and get the word out about who you are and what you do and how you show up in the world.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for all you do. We've enjoyed having you.
It's been a total pleasure, Juliet. You're amazing.
Thank you.